Hi everyone, welcome. Today we are going to look at mixed reference in Excel. Before now, you should know we have what is called an absolute and a relative referencing in Excel. In a relative reference, you copy a formula down and it moves. That is the default cell referencing in Excel. While in absolute, you lock the cell, alright? You lock the cell by pressing the F4 key on your keyboard, which automatically places a $sign before the column and the row coordinates. So this is what I mean by absolute cell reference. If you have something like this, now you can see it in the formula bar. Now this is an example of absolute cell referencing, assuming this is a formula. So we're going to look at how to write a mixed reference. We are going to start with this table. Here we have this column and we have this row, right? So we want to multiply whatever we have on this column with whatever we have on this row. So we're going to say 2 times 2 to create our formula. We enter the equal sign and select cell times 2. Click enter. Now when we copy this formula down, you're going to see an example of relative referencing in Excel. Let's copy the formula. Alright, now what happens is that when we times this, we actually did 3 times 3. Now when we go to the next cell, which is this, what is happening here? We are having 6 times 3. So this formula is actually moving from this column to this column to the next column. So let's see what we have on this one. You see it has moved to this column, that is the O, right? Now this is not what we want to do. To correct this, we are going to lock the column in our formula. Alright, so we're going to come back to the first place where we wrote the formula to make the column coordinate constant. Alright, so here is the column coordinate, which is our M6. We're going to add a $sign before the M. Alright, so what we have just done now is a mixed reference in Excel. In mixed reference, either the column is locked or the row is locked, right? So it's a combination of both absolute and relative cell referencing. Now that we have done this, we are going to drag down. You see we have been able to correct this, right? So we are having 3 times 4, which is what we should have, and this times this, right? So let's also try to copy this formula down. Now we see what we are having. In this case now, we are supposed to lock this row so that whatever we have here will always multiply whatever we have on this row without moving to the next row. Alright, so to do this, we are going to add a $sign before the row coordinate. So we are going to come back to our first formula to do this. So this is our first formula, and here is our reference, right? We have N5. 5 is the row coordinate, and we're going to add $sign before it. Alright, so I have added that, and I'll click enter. Then let me drag down now. You see I'm having 2 times 2, which is 4, and this is going to work when I also drag. Alright, so I'm having the exact thing I should have. Is always staying on this row now without moving to the second row. So let's drag down. We're going to have everything working perfectly. Right, so you can see it's always staying here. 1 times 4 is what we should get. Right, so we're going to use the knowledge of mixed cell referencing to work on this table we have here. Right, so here we have an annual income table where we have our employees, we have their salary or their income for 2021 and 2022. That's 2 years, and we have their tax. So each employee is supposed to pay a tax for each year, right? So this is 5% for 2021 and 2022. And on this table, we are going to calculate the tax payable. Alright, so we're going to calculate the annual income tax payable. For 2021, we're going to calculate it on this column. We're going to do that on the same column using what we have on this column. F. Alright, so let's start. We'll start, enter our formula by equal sign, and we're going to say this times this, the tax. We'll click enter. Alright, so this first employee is paying $12 for the first year, which is 2021. So let's copy down. Now you can see we do not have any issue with whatever formula we have here. It is always moving down. Check it out, you see the third person here is the formula we have here. So the formula is moving down. Now let's try and copy this formula to the right. See, we are having an error. Why are we not having value here? That is because it has moved from the tax column, which is F, to an empty column. Alright, so in this case we need to make the formula stay constant on the F column. Alright, so we're going to come, let me double click this so that you see what I mean. Now you can see what we have here is 222. Remember, it has moved from column D to column E, alright, and from column E it has moved to column G. So the first thing what we did was this 2021 times tax, which is on column F. The second thing we want to do is 2022, which is on column E times column F, and not the other way around, not this times this. Alright, so remember, formula always move. Right, so we're going to correct that in our formula, the first place we created our formula. So we're going to go back there to make this F a constant. All right, now what are we going to make a constant? Is it the row or the column? It is the column we are going to make constant, because the row is going to move from this cell to this cell to this cell. So these are the rows, right? Remember, rows are represented by numbers, while column are represented by letter. So we want column F to be constant, while row we move. Right, so it's going to move from row 7 to row 8. Right, so let me add a dollar sign before the F, which is the column coordinate. When I click enter, I'm going to drag down. It doesn't have effect on this first column because we are not yet dragging. So let me drag to this next cell. Right, you can see we have what we want. Now we have this multiplying this. Right, so this time we can now copy down. Alright, so this is perfect example of how you use mid-cell referencing in Excel. In mid-cell referencing, you are locking a column or you are locking a row, and you do this by adding a dollar sign before the column or before the row, as opposed to an absolute reference where you add a dollar sign before the column and also before the row. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.